Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. All right, we're at the end of July already. It's blowing my mind. I can't believe we're already through July. You know, they say time flies when you're having fun or when you're getting old. And I guess that's true in both instances. But anyways, I've got a stack of books here. Let's go ahead and discuss where I'm at with my reading, what my TBR will be for August, which of course is hashtag Garb August. Look it up. There's tons of other booktube channels that are sponsoring or co-sponsoring Garb August. There's reading prompts and all kinds of stuff, but look it up. So, Daughter of Darkness. I had this on my TBR for this month. This is the second time I think I've had this on my TBR. I just can't get to it. It's the second book in what's going to be a trilogy at least by Terry Brooks. I'm going to get to it, but now I'm not going to be able to get to it in August. Who knows? Maybe September. So let's just set this aside. We're going to get to it. I did finish Devil House by John Darnielle. We're going to talk about this in a bit. I am still reading my super duper summer read along challenge, Anathema. I'm going to tell you, Neil Stevenson, I'm liking it, but it's super dense. It's not grabbing me to make me want to read it continuously for multiple hours or anything like that. I'm still not very far into it. Hopefully it will grab me and I don't know, it's kind of dense, kind of slow at the beginning, but nothing against it. I'm still reading, of course, the marvelous team up with Graz on his channel, the GKBC. We're finishing up Thirsty Mermaids. We only probably have 2 more videos left of this, and then we will be starting a new graphic novel. I will be revealing that soon. Stay tuned for that one. And then we're going to get into my TBR for Garb August. So I, of course, won this. It was a major award from Rad is Bad, Bad is Rad. Rad. Oh, she's awesome. You gotta check her channel out. But anyways, I'm going to be reading. Carter Brown is the author, and it's called The Body. So that's one book that I will be reading for Garb August. Also, along with that book, I also won from her a Shel Scott novel. It said Richard S. Prather. A Shel Scott novel by Richard S. Prather, and it's Gat Heat. Yeah. Look at the girl on that cover. Looks like there's a dead guy here in the back. Oh, he's on the front too. We'll see what that is. That's going to be another book that I read during Garb August. So there's 2. Also, I've mentioned this. I'm going to read Lost Girls by Alan Moore. There are 3 volumes in this graphic novel set. So we will be reading those 3 as well as those other ones. Oh my gosh, this is heavy. I'm going to set it down. And of course, for my Shorty King project, we will be moving on to Everything's Eventual. 14 Dark Tales by Stephen King. This one will probably get, I'll finish it by the end of the month. Later in the month that I get to this. But we'll get this done this month. I'm right on track with my Shorty King project. All right, so let's talk about Devil House. Let's get the numbers out of the way. Devil House is by John Darnielle. It was published January 25th, 2022. My version has 403 pages, and on Goodreads it currently has a 3.26 rating. All right, so first off, who's John Darnielle? I saw this book sitting at Ollie's, and I think I bought it for $2, but I love this cover. This cover is so intriguing to me. It just captured me. The black, the white, the red. This picture of a house, but superimposed to look like a bat down here. Purported to be a horror novel. First off, this book is not a horror novel. We're going to talk about it, but I want to talk about John Darnielle for a little bit. He has 4 other books, and from the research I've done on these books, a lot of the themes seems to, I don't know, include or circle around mental illness of some sort. And I've read some good reviews of these other books. So I was really excited to get into this book. Multiple reasons. The look of it, John Darnielle. The other thing that I want to talk about John Darnielle is he's more famous as a musician. He is really the driving force of the Mountain Goats. And the Mountain Goats have been around for a long time. They've actually been releasing studio albums since 1994. So they've released 21 studio albums from 1994 to 2022 when their last album was released. And so I was like, oh hell, I'm gonna check this dude out. I'm a music fan. You see I'm wearing my White Zombie t-shirt. But so I started researching the Mountain Goats, and I started streaming some of their albums. So I streamed one of their albums, I can't remember which one, and it was pretty decent. I mean, they're a indie folk rock band. Americana folk, but not slow. It's got more of a little rock beat to it. I listened to one album and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty decent, pretty cool, some hooks in it. John Darnielle, when he started out in 1994, he did everything. Writing, producing, recording, singing, guitars, keyboards, everything by himself. He does now have a band, so there's more of a band form to the band. Now, how many times am I going to say band? But anyways, I listened to another album and it was horrible. I listened to another album, I liked it. I listened to another album, it was horrible. So I'm thinking here, wonder what these books are like. Well, I started reading this book. What is this book? This book is, it's a story about this writer. His name's Gage Chandler, and he's a writer of true crime. So he writes these true crime novels. To some extent, he's written several, and I mean, they're paying the bills, but he hits, he gets lightning in a bottle with his last book called The White Witch. And it was about a murder in a small town in California that he actually had lived in when he was younger. And it becomes very successful. It's a hit. It even becomes a movie, a documentary type true crime movie. And it's a hit. So now he's doing really well. What's he going to do next? Well, his agent tells him about this house that's loose. It's not a house. Tells him about a house back in the same town that he just wrote The White Witch about, for where there was another 2 people killed in this grisly satanic scene in the same town as The White Witch, but years later in the 80s. So he decides, I'm going to write my next book about these murders. Well, he really gets into his work. So what he actually does is finds out that this place where these murders had taken place, who everyone's calling now Devil House, is for sale. It's been renovated. It's now up for sale, and he buys it, moves in, and starts really getting into, he lays down on the floor and tries to imagine the murders and the scene and all this stuff to help him write this book. He's almost like a method actor. He's a method writer, right? So he moves into this place. Now, first off, this is a little bit kind of pisses me off. It looks like an old house here, and it looks like a bat down here on this picture. Nope, it's not an old house. It's just a building. The building has been everything. It was a restaurant back in the day. It was a newsstand. It was a used bookstore. It was, a hardware store. Through the years, it's just a building sitting on a street that's pretty much square concrete. Nothing interesting about the building at all until it becomes a pornographic bookstore, video store. Even has the rooms. I don't know if anybody knows about this, but there's rooms that you can go in and do things in these rooms while watching videos. It has 7 of those. But there's no ghost story to it. There's no horror aside from the fact that these people were murdered, grisly murder at this place. There's no story. Come on, guy. I started reading this and I freaking loved it at first because it was different. Oh, I'm reading this guy writing this true crime, and he's moving into this house, and the house is going to start creaking and moaning, and he's going to see ghosts, and there's going to be, this, I don't know what I thought. It was a scary, I thought there was going to be vampires in it. There's no vampire in it. There's nothing like that in it. There's no horror in it at all. So that was kind of disappointing. But like I said, when I first started reading it, I dug it. His writing style is amazing. He really is a good writer. But here's the issue. A couple 100 pages in, 150 pages in, it just falls off the rails. It starts telling the story of the White Witch. Well, I thought we were telling the story of the Devil House. Nope. Totally abandoned that. We start talking about his writing of the White Witch and the story of the White Witch. That goes on for a little while. And then there's this section where he starts telling this ancient medieval story about this king. And let me see if I can find it for you. It's ridiculous. It's a whole section of this book, and then it's even the writings, it's like this old English. He's telling it in old English. It's almost unreadable. It's hard to read some of the printing of the words. The story absolutely goes nowhere. This little aside, this little story about this king being murdered and his son wanting to revenge his murder, but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and no resolution. And I realize that that's what this book is doing. It's totally off the rails. There's whole chapters that have no reason to be in this book. They have no storyline. They don't advance the story. There is no story. Oh man. And then about, 100 pages left in the book, it got freaking interesting again. And it sucked me in. His writing is good. But dude, is he taking too many drugs? Was he dropping acid? I don't know. Because this story is all over the place. Does he want to be like Sylvia Plath, or, like the Bell Jar or something? Or, what it reminded me of? When I was younger, the first time I read A Clockwork Orange, I was like, wow, this is really cool, but I wasn't old enough. I didn't understand what the hell I was reading. I didn't see what was going on in that story. I think it's a brilliant story, but, it's hard. It uses its own language. We're not talking about Clockwork Orange, but that's the feeling I got when I was reading this, that he was trying to do something really psychological that gets into your brain and makes you total failure. I'm sorry, dude. The ending, the last 30 pages, there's like a plot twist, but it's horrible. You may read this book and get to that point and want to throw this book across the room. There's no resolution. Again, there's no full story here. Matter of fact, you don't even get, the, what's the word I want to say? You don't even get the fulfillment of seeing the end of this story, this true crime novel he's writing. You don't even see that. It never even gets published. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what to say. This really disappointed me. It has nothing to do with a haunted house. It has nothing to do with any vampires or anything like that. It's that you don't know who did the murders. There's no resolution of that. I don't know what he did. I think he had this idea in his head. He started writing this story and he just couldn't finish it, didn't know what to do with it, started throwing in all kinds of crap that have no meaning to the story. It sounds like I'm really bashing this book. It's gonna, it's gonna go on my shelf. It's gonna sit there. I'm never gonna look at it again. I'm never gonna think about it again. I'm never gonna read it again. At first, like I said, the first 100 pages, I'm thinking, wow, I got to get these other books from this dude. This is pretty cool. I have no desire to get any of his other books. I don't know. I gave it a 2. I gave it 2 stars. I almost gave it 3 just purely for his writing. The guy can tell a story. He can captivate you and draw you in, but he's got to focus. I don't know. I don't know what else to say, guys. All right. So, nothing else to say. If you're interested in this book, I don't know. Try it. Maybe you'll like it. 3.26 on Goodreads isn't that good. Average, I guess. But I got it for $2, $2 or $3 at Ollie's. So, anyways, Devil House by John Darnielle. Not really for me. Give it a try. All right, if you all have found any entertaining value in my video, please like, subscribe, and give me comments. I still need about 30 more subscribers to hit 500. Again, when I hit 500, I'm going to be giving away a folio book, and I don't think I'm even going to tell you what it is, but when I hit 500, we'll have a drawing. We'll do something. But anyways, until next time, peace out.